Hey guys, welcome back to GBDA On Air. I'm your host Denise.
My name is Gaurav.
And I'm your host Cindy.
And today we have two special guests from their abroad sessions. Welcome Matthew and Vehara. Woo! Alright guys, so tell us, Matthew, where did you go for abroad?
Yeah, I was in Malmö, Sweden.
Okay.
It's like a decent sized city kind of in the south of Sweden, right across from Denmark.
Oh, nice. Okay, and Vehara, what about you?
I was in Australia and specifically in Brisbane, Australia.
Interesting.
So it was really nice there.
Nice. Okay.
I know as second years we want to go abroad as well.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go, Cindy?
I want to go to Australia, so this is a really great Q&A session for me.
Yeah.
I'm definitely,
UK, hopefully. So,
UK.
yeah.
We're in the UK.
I'm hoping to go to Leeds.
Okay.
I have a couple of friends there, so yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who went to Leeds as well, and they had a really fun time.
I know, right? I think one of our GBDA SOC exec members also went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Denise, where do you want to go?
I got accepted to go to Madrid, so I'm very excited about
Oh,
that.
wait, that's so fun.
I know, so I'm really curious to know what that's like, and that's why we have these beautiful hosts, and we also have our guests here today. So we're gonna get down to a little bit of a Q&A with them, so we know where you guys went. Tell us what that was like for you guys. So how was going abroad? What was the sessions? What did you go to? What did you apply to?
Yeah, what was the application process like?
Yeah.
I was really long. I think we started in October, just with I want to do an abroad session. So you pick a few universities that you want to go to, and then after that, I think there's another application process in January maybe, but then you have to wait until April, at least I did, to find out whether I actually got accepted or not.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
And so it was quite a while before I was waiting for 6 months before I could actually start planning flights, housing, and stuff.
True.
So I don't know if it's like that for everybody.
Yeah,
but-
fair
I
enough.
think for me it was slightly different, but we did start our process in October as well, application for me. But so in the beginning, like he said, you pick out universities, so you pick out 4 of your top universities, and you basically get matched with one of them. So my top was actually not Australia; it was in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was
Actually-
going to be my question, but did you guys always want to go to where you guys went?
I only chose one, so I took
Oh,
a bit of a
wow.
risk, because if I didn't match with them, I would have had to try again in January, but
Fair.
yeah.
I went with UK first. I went to I think University College London, I believe. But I'm actually kind of happy I didn't end up going because Australia was such a different vibe from Canada, so it was really nice.
Yeah.
I got my offer in December actually, specifically December 5th, the day I remember, December 5th. So from then on, I started planning where you need to go and then flights and everything. Just from then on, I started booking.
Okay, so I guess the process was very much the same, but getting accepted was just different timings based on the
Timing,
universities.
yeah.
Yeah, I matched with Malmö University earlier, but I didn't get accepted by the people in Sweden. I think
see.
matching is approval by Waterloo for an exchange, and being accepted, you still have to be accepted by the university.
Yeah, so it's a two
Yeah.
different process.
So you get a match, and then you get an offer letter from the university itself as well.
So you could get matched and not get an offer letter.
I
Yeah.
believe so. I think that's a possibility.
Okay. Wait, so then I got matched. I didn't get an offer letter yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to
fingers
wait
crossed.
until
Yeah,
the
that's
process.
We're still there. We're on the route. We're on the
Yeah,
route
you're-
there.
I mean,
Okay.
if you're matched, you're basically there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair.
Fair enough.
What was the matching process like?
The matching process, I mean, it's kind of scary because you're just sitting there, there's a possibility, I guess, to not get matched at all. That's why there is the second round. So one of my friends, she wanted to go to Korea, but she didn't get accepted. But I think someone probably rejected their offer or something went through, and then she got accepted in the second round.
I see.
Oh, so that's why there's a 2-round
Yeah,
process.
so there's always still an opportunity to go. It's just you're just kind of like a sitting duck, almost just waiting for a response to come back.
It's kind of like applying to universities.
Yeah, it's literally the
It's
same
like
thing.
high school all
Everyone.
over again.
Yeah.
Because you are applying to a university technically, just
Yeah.
Abroad.
For you, it might have been like that, right?
Yeah,
When you were
very
coming, you were basically abroad.
Very similar. I would say, I do have a Canadian citizenship and a passport. Oh my god, that was so hard. Tongue twister. I do have a Canadian citizenship, but moving here was a total different process. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm going abroad times 2. Going here and then going to Madrid. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But-
No, you're
So,
good.
I know.
Yeah. So when you apply, you get into the school and then you have to do visas.
Yeah.
Student visas. How is that process like?
I didn't need a visa.
Oh.
I just needed like a permit of stay.
Okay.
And that was interesting because I had to go to the migration website and apply, like, this is how long I'm staying, this is why I'm staying. And then I had to do a passport check with the Swedish embassy, which I had to go all the way to Ottawa for that.
Oh,
Which was a
wow.
bit annoying, and they only do passport checks on Wednesdays. So,
So specific.
so I had to go there. It was like 3 minutes that I was in the embassy meeting with someone. So, it was like
The truck there.
yeah, 5-hour drive there. I stayed overnight, and then 15 minutes in the waiting room.
Wow.
3 minutes so they had to look at my passport and photocopy it. But then they said, assuming you get approved, there was actually a second step I had to do once I got to Sweden, where I had to go to the agency there as well and get fingerprinted, and then they gave me like an identity card, and then I was allowed to stay in Sweden for 5 months.
Oh,
Do
interesting.
you know if it's just for Sweden where you have to do like that permit, or do you think it's like other countries in Europe as well?
I would expect it's most EU countries. I think Canada is like some kind of agreement with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we can go like visa free. I think Canada has a pretty strong passport.
Right.
So it would just, I'm guessing, I don't know.
No,
I don't want to
fair
like
enough,
spread
yeah.
misinformation,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing it's pretty similar for most
Yeah.
of Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Vehara? How was
For
that?
me, okay, it was kind of like stressful for me because we had to apply for visa for Australia.
Okay.
So me and my friend, we both applied, and then I know she got hers like within a weekish, but for me, like I had my tickets booked and everything, but it took like a month for my process. But I wasn't sure why. Like I contacted them, like there was really nothing really off about my visa application. So like I'm pretty sure they got tired of me because I called like every single day to like the Australian visa application. I'm like, hi, so I'm coming like in a couple days. I need my visa now.
Oh, so you did everything and still didn't get your visa approval?
Yeah, I still didn't have my visa approval. I think I got it like 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave. So like it was kind of stressful because you're thinking, well, if I don't get it, like I contacted the school. I was like, well, if I don't get it, like is it okay to come later? Kind of things like that. I mean, I did end up getting it, which is nice.
There you go.
But I would say like once you get accepted, try doing your visa first.
Okay.
Because I think I pushed back a bit,
Oh.
which
Right.
is
Yeah.
my fault.
Yep.
But other than that, like
Yeah.
when I got to Australia, I had to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like entry, you go through the airport
Really
system,
simple.
and then you're good to go from
Okay.
Australia.
How is housing?
Also interesting.
That I would say is also
Yeah.
interesting.
The university did have like university housing. It's not really university housing, but it's housing, student housing in kind of cooperation with the university. And so like most people applied to that, I think, which means it's like very high demand.
Okay.
So I didn't get in right away, and I kind of, you could email them and was like, what place am I on in like the waiting list? And I was like 45, and they recommended I look for somewhere else. And so you can find really expensive options really close to the university, or really cheap options really far away.
Yeah. Where did you end up settling? Like, too
I
close
did
to
actually get into the university housing, which was
Okay,
nice,
nice.
but
That's
like
lucky.
very last minute.
Okay.
Which is good because I was like, okay, like I was talking to my parents. I was like, I need to like find a place to live tomorrow. Let's look at the really expensive option and the really cheap option.
Right.
And then I woke up that morning and I was like, we're gonna find something, and I got an offer of acceptance from
Beautiful.
the university housing, which was perfect timing.
Everything always works out in the end. Like,
Yeah.
you're stressed.
Yes.
Like, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. What about you, Vehara?
For me, they actually don't really have like student housing. You know how there's like residences here?
Yeah.
They don't have anything like that there.
Oh.
So this is off campus.
Yeah, it's like off campus everything.
Okay.
So it was kind of hard to find because first of all, the housing there was really expensive. I paid like $4.39 a week.
Oh.
Yeah, and the Australian and Canadian dollar is not that
Yeah,
different.
they're very
okay.
similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like it was still like around 400s, like high 400s
Wow.
when it's Canadian as well. So it was quite expensive.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it was probably expensive because I was directly in the city of Brisbane, and we were in a really good spot. But
But that place is cheaper than like my place in Waterloo right now. Like,
oh my god,
the Waterloo's economy.
Waterloo is crazy.
Like, I'll take that over anything.
Yeah.
So finding housing for us, especially, was hard. Thankfully, I have a lot of family in Australia, so I was able to contact a couple of them, and they did do little house tours for me as well when they were there. But in the end, we ended up settling with the $4.39 a week one, just because we were like, okay, it's primarily for students.
Right.
So my parents were like, it's more safe because and there's always like security there, and overall it was really nice. So, that was pretty scary because like we didn't really settle on the housing until like we actually got there.
Yeah.
Because we had it like booked. We had paid a week, so technically we were under the contract.
Right.
But we hadn't like there was still like another part of the contract we didn't sign yet because we didn't want to sign on it until we could see if there was a better option.
Mm-hmm.
So technically we didn't have a place until we got there.
Oh.
Like yeah. But I think it worked out because the place that we ended up staying at was really nice. We met a lot of friends there because it was student kind of housing. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys like go to your schools like in the different countries with friends, or did you guys go by yourself? Do you know people there? Like.
Yeah.
I went with my mom to Australia.
Okay.
Because
Nice.
my parents actually lived in Australia before because I was actually born there.
Okay.
Yeah, so my mom went back after like 19 years. So like she was so excited to meet her friends and everything like that. So we went back together and I toured everywhere like with my mom first. So it's so pretty there. Because like whereas Waterloo is like very much buildings, like there was like very much nature. There's literally a botanical garden right beside our campus.
Nice.
And we're right near like the Brisbane River and things like that. So it was overall really pretty to like tour and everything.
Yeah.
Matthew, how about you? Who'd you go with? Did you go by yourself?
My dad came with me to Sweden, and we did like a bit of traveling, not around Sweden, but like around Europe.
Nice.
So we did like a country per day
Nice.
for a while, which was fun. Like Iceland, the UK, France, Germany.
That's definitely a goal I want to set for myself. Like when I'm there in Europe, I do want to travel around because it's so interconnected. Like I'm sure you can agree with
You
me.
can take a train. Yeah,
literally.
I visited 20 countries in 5 months.
Oh my god.
That's a goal.
See, that's why I wanted to go to the UK because I was like, that's such a good opportunity to visit so many places.
You have to be insane. Like I slept on trains for 2 weeks.
As you should.
But I mean, it was like cheaper to sleep on trains, and you could see so much if you just
Did you do this before your studies or during?
During Christmas break.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
And plus the few that I visited with my dad beforehand.
Yeah.
15 countries in Christmas break.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's really cool.
So anyone watching, try to beat Matthew. 15 in Christmas break, that's your goal.
But Christmas must have looked very different for the both of you in terms of weather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're in Australia. It's summer there. How's that experience?
What's funny is even their winter was basically our summer.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I heard it's flipped. You know, like,
Yeah.
So like when I went in July, so in July their weather was like 24 degrees, and that's their winter, right?
Imagine.
And what's the funniest thing is I met one girl and she was from Thailand, and I remember talking with her and like maybe 5 minutes into the conversation, I was like, "Wait, are you wearing a puffer jacket?" Because she's from Thailand, so for her it's cold.
Oh my
And me and my friend were in like shorts and a t-shirt. We looked like we were in like two completely different like climates.
Yeah.
But when it got closer to December, it was like 34, 35. Like the day I came, it was like around 34. So I actually came to Canada in like shorts. Because I was too lazy to change in the airport.
True.
To, like, long pants.
True.
How was it landing here?
But apparently I came to Canada like at a temperature which was like higher than normal. It was like still like 6 degrees, but like it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's recently starting to get it bad, right?
Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
Surprising, even though it's further north, it was warmer there.
Okay.
I didn't actually bring a winter coat with me.
Oh, wow.
And I was
Interesting.
considering buying one, but I never needed it.
Okay.
So I got everywhere with like a hoodie and light gloves.
Okay.
It got like -7 at the coldest.
That's not that bad.
Yeah.
We're at like -17 today.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew people that were like, you're insane. Like, why don't you have a winter coat?
Right. We're just
Like,
Canadian.
yeah, -20. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was fine in all around Europe too, like -5 at the coldest.
Interesting.
Which
Okay.
was
That's not bad.
interesting on some days because I was just walking around cities all day.
Would you say it was like rainy rather than like?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was
being
gonna
by
say.
the water too. Lots
Yeah.
of rain, lots of wind, and it's the wind that kills you. But
Yeah.
It is the
Because it's colder by the water anyway, so like the
Yeah.
fact that you were still able to just wear a hoodie by the water, like
Yeah.
That's true.
So, new countries, which means new food. Did you guys try any new snacks?
Did I try new snacks? I feel like the main thing people when they think Australia is like Vegemite and like
Oh,
Tim
yeah.
Tams and stuff like that. So like yeah, I did try those. There's not really much like true new because it's pretty much the same. But
Yeah.
there are like certain things like I actually tried kangaroo meat,
Oh,
which was
interesting.
Interesting.
How
Kangaroo
was that?
meat.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it tasted the same as like any other meat. I feel like. I'm sorry. Like,
I low-key have a fear of kangaroos. I think
really?
kangaroos look like humans, but in a kangaroo suit. Like, they don't look real to me.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like those big buff ones are down like back in Perth. So like
those are real.
yeah, like
the buff ones.
Yeah, those big buff ones. Yeah, they're like in
She said, is that real? Like, have you seen the pictures of the buff ones?
Yeah. They're real, but they're more in Perth. I never saw like a big guy, but I did see like in Melbourne. I remember driving down like a suburban area, and there was literally kangaroos like on like a small area, and they were like smaller. Like they were probably like the same size as this table, maybe.
Oh, I see.
That's small. I'm like the size of this table.
Oh my god. But like they were really, I would say the ones in like Melbourne, Sydney, they were cute. So like you're fine. They're like cute little guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cute. What about you? Did you
Any
try any snacks? Yeah.
Oh yeah, snacks.
IKEA is known for like meatballs, right? IKEA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sweden.
Swedish
IKEA.
meatballs.
How
And
was IKEA there?
It was. It
Did you go
was
to
pretty
IKEA?
much the same. I went once. I was gonna go more times. I was gonna have like
Yeah.
a thing where I'm in Sweden in IKEA eating meatballs,
Oh.
and then I had like a list of Swedish things I was gonna do
Nice.
in IKEA, like Minecraft is Swedish,
Yeah.
Spotify is Swedish, and I
Yeah.
was just gonna try and do all these things in an IKEA, but I never got to.
Yeah.
But no, I did go to IKEA just to pick up like a few things when I got there.
Yeah.
It's basically the same, except even more things are in Swedish.
Mhm.
Like
Fair.
the first stop when I got back to Canada was the IKEA in Burlington.
Oh.
Just it was like the
Compare
nostalgia,
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like all the product names are like the Swedish, but everything in everything here is in English and everything there is in Swedish.
Right.
Definitely.
So a bit harder to navigate, but you get around. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Do you guys have a go-to spot when you're in those countries? Like, what's your go-to?
The grocery store.
Which one?
Well,
That's a Swedish name.
I went to one called Willie's and one called
Willie's.
Coop.
Okay.
I think Coop is around Europe, but they're like drinks that I would get there that I can't get here. So I collected quite a few different kinds of cider.
Nice.
There's like pear and raspberry,
Interesting.
elderberry. So all these flavors that
Wow.
I'm gonna miss. Yeah. But yeah.
Of course.
The grocery store, there's actually a similar name. We had a grocery store and it was called Woolies.
Oh, so
Woolies.
Willie's and Woolies.
Yeah, but I think I went to like the city, or I went to Gold Coast a lot because it was like maybe 2 hours by train from like where I lived. So I was like, I'm gonna make most of the fact that like the beaches are really pretty in Australia. So I went to Gold Coast as much as I could.
Yeah. But hey guys, speaking of snacks, you know what it's time for? The Snack Zone!
Cue it in.
Is this on?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, hey
Okay.
guys, welcome to the Snack Zone.
Hello, I'm Justin,
I'm Denise.
and today we're going to chocolate bars in Stratford.
So yeah, we're gonna take you guys with us on a vlog, so stay tuned.
Alright, so once we exit campus, we can go over there to chocolate bars on our left, and they have very delicious chocolate.
Okay, let's go. We're making our way there now.
Oh, this is it, guys. This is it.
Justin and I are just taking a quick peek around right now. Justin, tell me, are you a milk chocolate person, or are you a dark chocolate, a white chocolate?
I'm pretty standard, so I like milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate.
Yeah,
I think they're pretty tasty.
fair.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm also a milk chocolate girl, so we're looking around the stores for some milk chocolate options.
Two.
Okay, so we just got our chocolate. We're gonna walk back to campus and try these out.
I got here was milk chocolate coconut crunch.
I got the same one too, so we're gonna try them at the same time. Okay, cheers.
Okay,
I like it.
that's really good.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but like definitely there is that crunch.
Mm-hmm.
That nice little coconut crunch. I like it a lot.
Very, very crunchy.
Very crunchy.
Got the dark variation as well.
We both got it. We're gonna try them together. Cheers. I like this one too.
This one's not bad.
So we're both milk chocolate lovers, but this is the dark chocolate one. It's not that bitter. I expected it to be a lot more bitter.
Yeah, it's not that bitter. Like, it's very, very similar.
Okay. Lastly, we also got a milk chocolate almond bark, like crunch thing to try. So me and Justin are just gonna split it down the middle. I don't know if this is gonna be easy to like.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. That's how it looks like.
Perfect split.
Right? It kind of looks like a Snickers bar, like the inside of a Snickers bar. I don't know. Okay, let's try it. Cheers.
Oh. Oh,
I really like this.
it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this one's really crunchy.
It's like caramel popcorn
Yeah, right?
on the inside.
It has like that very sweet sort of like taste.
No, this is really good. I think this might be my new favorite.
It's a little bit salty too. Yeah.
I think they like put a little bit of salt on top, and then also it's like salted caramel. I think not just like straight up caramel, but salted caramel. I really like this.
Oh, good. Good. So that was our snack review. If you want to try some yourself, you can get it at chocolate bars just across the street from campus. But yeah, that was.
It was pretty good. Justin, what do you rate it out of 10?
I would rate it a solid 8.
8? I would give it a 9. I actually really like the choices. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good and yeah, very delicious.
Very delicious. Okay, back to the podcast.
And we're back. So, time to talk about the important thing, money. How was that for you? I know you spoke about rent.
Yeah.
Over there being very expensive. How else? How was finance?
I think the cost of living in Australia is pretty high. So, because like the minimum wage starting off is around like 24, even like it's really high.
Okay.
I actually worked at McDonald's in Australia. So like
I earn 24 an hour.
Yeah, I actually earned 29. I earned 29 because of my age. Because the older you are, you kind of earn more in a way.
Oh,
Yeah, so like I earned 29.
work at McDonald's.
Yeah, work at McDonald's or Macca's when they call there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Macca's.
But the cost of living was really high. So like when it came to buying groceries, our bill was quite expensive. So I would say budget quite well. Like eating out, there's sushi there. If you go to Australia, buy the sushi. It's so good in Australia. But I would say budget really well. Rent was probably like the highest of our costs just because it was like $4.39 a week. So maybe we spent around like 6-7K on rent just for the term you were there. And then of course there's going to be like small things you want to do such as traveling.
Right.
So I actually flew down to New Zealand during my last couple, not my last couple, but during like the end of November. And that wasn't too bad. I feel like we budgeted quite well where we spent maybe like 2K, 3K for 2 weeks that we were there. That's including flights, hotels, like food, everything.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I would say overall I spent around 10K maybe, like the whole time I was there. That's including
for 4
rent.
months.
Yeah. So budget well is the main thing. So like, because Australia was quite expensive, like, but because it is kind of similar to the Canadian dollar, it wasn't too much in the head. Sometimes when I bought something, I'm like, okay, so technically in Canada it's cheaper.
Yeah.
True.
Because they already have the tax in the stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, in the pricing.
Okay.
Finally.
Yeah, like Uniqlo, it's actually cheaper there because like pans, the Canadian pricing is what you see there. So if you think about with tax adding, it's cheaper in Australia.
Did you shop a lot? Like, did you have to like ship stuff back?
Oh my god. I had to. My luggage was overweight. Yeah. They thankfully like didn't say anything. Like my luggage was technically like 25 kilos probably. Yeah. They didn't say anything.
It was 23, right?
Yeah, somebody's 23.
Okay.
I would say I bought a lot of chocolate.
Okay.
Because the dairy there is really good.
Yeah.
But budgeting is the main thing because it is
Definitely.
quite expensive Australia-wise.
Yeah. I know just a quick comment. I know as an international student, like I've thought a lot about like converting things back from the Canadian dollar. So like, good to know that it's easier there.
Yeah. I think Sweden is supposed to be expensive. I generally try to do things very, very cheap. Even at like the sake of other things. So just whatever the cheapest option is, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So the housing was like comparable to Waterloo, which I know Waterloo is crazy, but that being said, like I get the cheapest option in Waterloo, I get the cheapest option in Malmö. So
yeah. How much do you think you spent like for the 4 months, like rough?
I was there. It was like $600 a month.
Okay.
And it was pretty good. Like that's what I paid in Waterloo last year too, and a much better apartment in Sweden.
Yeah. How was the conversion?
It's so I don't know exactly how much I spent because of they have the Swedish crown.
Yeah.
I think I usually divide it by 8.
Okay.
But it like fluctuates. Like I know that in Canadian dollars, my rent was less expensive the second month than the first month because the currency had changed.
Okay.
So I just kind of tried not to think about it because Sweden is a bit more expensive, but overall I don't think it's that bad. Some things are more expensive, some things are less expensive.
Makes sense. So did you transfer all the money in the beginning of the term to your Swedish currency or?
No, I just used my Canadian debit and credit cards throughout the whole
They
thing.
said that?
Yeah.
Oh, was there like a charge because it's international?
Probably.
Yeah, what was that like? Did you also get like an Australian credit card or debit card?
I got a debit card. Like I opened a bank account there. I exchanged American money just because for American money you can get more Australian versus Canadian just because it's no use. So I opened one when I got there. I put in money but my parents like sent me money afterwards after I opened an account and everything like that. And I did keep money on me like cash, like not converted money, just in case if I ever came to that point where I needed money quickly, I had money to convert to Australian. And it wasn't like a waste to like convert it and just leave it in Australian.
Okay, yeah. Some viewers might want to know which bank you went with just in case. So.
Oh yeah, so the top ones that I do know that are the best in Australia is Westpac and Commonwealth. I went with Commonwealth.
Okay.
So it was really easy for me and there's a lot of Commonwealth where in the Brisbane city there was a lot.
Right.
So those are the two main ones, but there are like other ones like we have in Canada.
Okay.
Is it comparable to any of the Canadian banks?
Pardon me?
Is it comparable to any of the Canadian banks like CBC, CIBC everywhere? It's like.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there were. I didn't feel like much of a difference like when I.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Very nice.
Going into like the schooling and side of things, how was your education? Like what courses did you take? Like what electives? Like how was that?
Sweden works on a 30 credit system, so like 30 credits per semester.
That'd be hell in Waterloo.
But it's like divided different ways.
Of
So when I was applying, I saw courses for like 7.5 or 15, so it's like 4 courses. I took 1 course that was worth all 30 credits. So it was very intensive. But it was still lighter than Waterloo somehow.
Fair enough.
What was the course?
Storytelling. So it fits in perfectly with GBDA.
Nice.
So we like read novels, kind of analyzed them, looked at adaptations, that kind of thing. And I had because it was kind of lighter than Waterloo, I was able to take 2 extra courses worth 5 credits each for Swedish.
Okay.
So I took 1 right when I got there, and then I moved on to section 2.
Oh, so it was like the language.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How was final exams for you?
Very easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. This Swedish exams were like the most intensive. Like you had to go to an examination hall.
Right.
And everyone was like had their own desk and
It's
it's
like
spaced
that.
apart. Yeah, exactly like that. And then for the storytelling course, it was less so. For each unit, we had a project and an essay.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Sweden allows 3 attempts for every exam.
Okay.
Because they're like, if you have an off day, that's not our fault, that's not your fault.
Thank God.
So
Some country
actually-
recognizes that.
So technically, I'm still doing courses because I had a lot of things due on the last day, so I didn't finish my essay. So I get another chance to hand that in in like a few weeks.
That's
So
pretty
I'm
good.
still on my exchange technically.
That's okay, but that's pretty good. What about you, Vihara? How's courses and final exams for you?
So like because there's a process in order to like choose your courses
Mhm.
abroad. Like you have to get them approved in Waterloo, like through a professor, and you have to get them approved in Australia.
Mhm.
So after that process went through, like I went to the first week of classes and I was like, wait a minute, I don't like any of these courses because they were all primarily business
Okay.
related.
Right.
They're like business is fine, but I'm not primarily like a business person.
Mhm.
So I like I went to the study abroad place there. I was like, I don't like any of these courses. Is it possible to switch? And they were like, yeah, just give us new ones and we'll approve it. So I actually like dropped all of my courses when I got to
Mhm.
Australia, and then I got 4 new courses approved and I took them. So it was like I can't remember what like the full credits was for Australia, so I
That's
can't
okay.
remember that off the top of my head. But I took an animation course, a game design course. What was the other 2? Oh my god, why am I blanking out right now? But they were design.
Okay.
Overall, I think it was really fun. I do think the grading system there was a little harder
Okay.
because we had 2 assessments for each course, and one was worth 40%, while the other was worth 60.
Mhm.
So if you did really bad on like
60 or 16?
60.
60.
40, 60.
40,
60.
60. So the first one was 40 and the second was 60. So like
It's
if
like
you did,
Econ 101.
Yeah, literally.
so it was like kind of stressful in a way because you're like, okay, if I do really bad on the first one, you have to do really good on the second one in
Yeah.
order to get the mark,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite hard in that way, and their grading system doesn't really go by percentages. It's like they go by a scale from 1 to 7. And
Okay.
like,
7.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like IB is
It's like IB.
Yeah, and,
literally
like they go
IB.
from like that. So it was kind of like confusing in the beginning. I mean, we did get used to it.
Yeah.
As for final exams, we didn't have any because they were all design ones. So we had projects. So
Yeah.
like creating like a book for the game design course or like
Mhm.
animation fundamental things. But overall, I think the education system is really nice. Like it was really fun, like doing all those courses.
Mhm.
It was just really hard in the beginning compared to like Waterloo, which I was kind of surprised because I was like, okay, Waterloo's already
Yeah.
really tough. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
how much
Yeah.
more tough can it get?
Yeah.
But that was, I think, the toughest part of our experience because towards the end we were kind of stressed. We even contacted the professor. Oh my god, I can't speak right now. The professors.
Yeah.
Because one of our courses, we were actually scared that we were like, okay, if we don't pass, like we
Mhm.
might not pass. And the only thing is Australia and Waterloo, because it's still fairly new, their connection.
Mhm.
I know for like some UK schools, you can come back to Canada and complete the credit.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia, they didn't have that.
Oh.
So if we failed, we kind of failed that course. There wasn't a way for us to make it up when we came back to Canada.
Oh.
So that's why we were kind of scared. So we contacted like Civil, right? And
Yeah.
they were like, that we're in this situation kind of
Right.
thing. He was really understanding. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out when we come back kind of sense. We passed the course. We were like, we contacted the Australia professor too. We were like, so we're kind of like stressed. We're like exchange students. Like we're close to leaving Canada as well. Is it possible to get an extension or anything like
Right.
that? They were really nice. They granted us an extension. But I would say like the education system was hard, probably because we didn't expect it, like how heavy it would be.
Right.
But in the end, it was like a fun experience.
That's
so
good.
that was nice.
So apart from academics, were there any extracurriculars that you guys engaged in?
Extracurriculars.
Clubs, societies, travel even? I mean, you spoke about travel.
Yeah.
So when we got there, like they were very good with international students. Malmö is kind of like a big international hub. So people from all over. There were a few hundred of us that met for like international student integration.
Nice.
So they had some activities for us the first week.
Nice.
That's where I met most of the people that I ended up spending time with throughout the exchange. And actually beforehand, they did like online orientation events before the semester started.
Yeah.
And we actually started like a WhatsApp group of 60 people
Yeah.
just in the comments of the Zoom meeting. So I actually
Wow.
knew people before I got there, so I was able to connect with them. And my group of international students, we did board games most Thursdays. So there was like a board games club, I guess, and tried some new things. There's actually a Monopoly version that's exclusively, it's like Malmö, the city itself. So we never played it, and I can't find it anywhere. But it looks cool, and like a bunch of interesting board games. Hard to read the instructions in Swedish sometimes, but and then they've got like a bunch of clubs, religious organizations, and stuff like that.
Nice.
Sounds like Waterloo. I have to say, all the international students were in a group chat as well. Before that. It was so much fun.
Yeah. So that was good, and then I don't know if I did anything else.
Yeah. You traveled.
He was busy.
Yeah. I did join like 2 clubs when I first went during orientation week, and they were both like design kind of clubs. So that was kind of nice because it was like more engaging in a way because you're kind of getting friends and things like that. I didn't really do anything sports wise. I feel like extracurricular, like it was just activities like going to the beach or like honestly, what else did I do? I think traveling was a big part of it. Like sometimes me and my friend, when we were bored, we met a friend who was Australian and she had a car. So we would like drive. We went like down to Newcastle and then took a train down to Sydney.
Nice.
So it's just fun in terms of like travel primarily. But extracurricular activities, I would definitely say if like people have the opportunity to like do it, just because it's nice, you get to experience like the university vibe more in a broad country.
Yeah. Are there any pieces of advice that you'd like to give to anyone who's applying for study abroad? Basically, yes.
And me, I'm getting advice.
Give us advice.
This goes on.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Definitely.
Yeah, literally just do it because despite like having to do like education stuff like that abroad, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
You make so much friends. You get to travel, even if you don't get to travel to 15 countries. But it's just fun going there anyways. Like it's an experience that you'll talk about for sure in like a couple years, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I wish I did when I first went was like kind of scheduling my stuff well because right when I got there, I was so excited about traveling and doing all the exciting stuff. I kind of forgot about the academic side. So like I would say like schedule it well, so you're not like stressed when it comes to school. Like that, and you can still have fun at the same time. And of course, like I said, budgeting.
Very nice.
That makes sense.
Okay.
It's good to learn something new as well. Like I think a big part of going on exchange is to be able to experience another culture, another country, and there's a lot to learn about. Each country and even each city is very unique. Like Malmö is very different from the rest of Sweden in some ways. So there's a lot to learn. You could like learn a language, learn about the culture. All that stuff is really good and
So much fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And with that, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about study abroad, feel free to DM the Sock account. And with that, have a nice day, and we'll catch you next episode. Bye.
Bye.